We have gone through our entire AFC East through South, NFC East through South, which means it is time now to go through the playoff picture. So I think the easiest way to do this is for like me to do the AFC, and then Josh, you do the AFC, then I'll do the NFC, you do the NFC, and then we'll do the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So for my AFC playoff picture, just a quick recap again. Cincinnati, I have the 1 seed, so they will get the bye. The Chargers will be going to Houston in the wild card round. Baltimore goes to Kansas City in an AFC championship rematch in the wild card round, which then leads the Miami Dolphins will be at the New York Jets. And in a very interesting fashion, not only will that be a divisional game, third time they play, this will actually be a Week 18 rematch that will also be in New Jersey.
Okay.
With that being said, the results of that games are the Texans will defeat the Chargers, Kansas City will defeat Baltimore again, and the Jets and Aaron Rodgers do get a playoff win because Tua Tagovailoa will not be able to play out in the cold again, which will set up the 4-seed New York Jets in the jungle against the 1-seed Cincinnati Bengals, where Joe Burrow will get the best of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers' season does come to an end for the New York Jets. And in a rematch of that game you mentioned earlier on between Kansas City and Houston, this one would actually take place in Houston. I think the Texans actually would have beat the Chiefs in Kansas City earlier in the season, and I think Kansas City gets their revenge here in Houston to set up for the third time in 4 years.
I'm down with this.
Except this one's in Cincinnati. Mahomes, Burrow, AFC Championship game in the jungle, and Patrick Mahomes breaks the Bengals fans' hearts again in a very close game, a walk-off touchdown at the buzzer, and the Kansas City Chiefs will try to, as Cody Rhodes did at WrestleMania 40, finish their story and three-peat.
Okay. So I've got the Houston Texans as the 1 seed getting the bye. The number 2 seed, I've got the Baltimore Ravens. They will be hosting. Who did I have? Oh, yeah, the New York Jets. Yeah, the Jets. I believe I had the Jets at 5, if I'm not mistaken. And then at the number 3 seed, that's where I've got the Miami Dolphins. I had to think about that for a second. They'll be hosting the Indianapolis Colts. And then the number 4 seed.
Kansas City.
Oh, yeah. Kansas City. Wait, that makes no sense. Kansas City's the 2 seed. I'm sorry. I completely screwed that up.
I don't even think you have the Jets making the playoffs.
Yeah, I completely fucked that up. I'm sorry. I have Houston as the 1 seed. Kansas City as the 2 seed. There we go. Baltimore as the 3 seed.
Miami as the 4 then.
Yes, Miami as the 4 seed. That's correct. And then the number 5 seed is Indianapolis. So they would be at
Miami.
Yes. And then number 6, I've got the Browns. Yep. And they will be at
Baltimore.
Yep. And which would, like you, would be a Week 18 rematch. And then the number 7 seed, that's where I have the Denver Broncos.
Oh, yes. Okay. You have them at Kansas City, another division rematch.
Yes. So then I've got Kansas City being Denver because it's Patrick Mahomes. And then with Indianapolis at I keep forgetting this. I should have written
Indy at Miami.
Indy at Miami. Miami's at home. I got Miami. And then the 4 at 5 is
Well, no, that was your 4 or 5. 3-6 was Browns Ravens.
Browns Ravens. As much as I want to put Deshaun Watson in there, it's Lamar at home. So I think all the division winners hold firm in the wild card round.
So to help you out, that sets up Miami at Houston, and then Kansas City, Baltimore at Kansas City.
Yes. And Houston, this is where Miami season comes to an end. Houston wins, goes to the AFC Championship, and in the other round, Lamar Jackson leads the Baltimore Ravens into Kansas City and beats Patrick Mahomes.
Wow.
Meaning it will be the Baltimore Ravens against the Houston Texans in the AFC Championship. I'd love to put Houston in the Super Bowl, but not this year. Not with John Harbaugh as the Ravens head coach. Yes, they lost Mike McDonald. Yes, they lost Patrick Queen, but I've got the Baltimore Ravens going to the Super Bowl out of the AFC.
Okay. NFC time. So to recap, in my NFC standings, I have the Lions as the number 1 seed. I will have Philadelphia hosting Washington in another divisional game in the wild card round, as well as San Francisco hosting the Rams in another divisional game, and then Chicago going to Atlanta. And if you want to be technical, I have Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and again, if you want to be technical, Michael Penix, 3 rookies in the NFC, all making the playoffs.
It could happen, yeah.
In those wild card games, I have Philly beating Washington. I think they split in the regular season. I think Philly will get the best of Washington in the postseason. I think in the regular season, San Francisco would have swept the Rams because we all know Shanahan just owns McVay. But I think McVay gets the best of the Niners, and down go the Niners in the wild card round from Sean McVay and the Los Angeles Rams. And then I think Caleb Williams makes a big impression on his first playoff game in Atlanta. We all know how Kirk Cousins is in primetime. And I think the Chicago Bears upset the Atlanta Falcons in the NFC wildcard round. Which then, in the divisional round, sets it up where Caleb Williams' season will come to an end in Philadelphia, and a rematch of last year's wildcard round. A rematch of week 1 this year. Rams, Lions, Stafford, Goff. Same place, same venue, Ford Field, Detroit, Michigan. The Philadelphia Eagles will be traveling to Detroit for the NFC Championship game as the Lions and Jared Goff do pull it out.
Okay.
And in Ford Field, Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions will, unfortunately for me, knock off my Philadelphia Eagles, and Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions will have a rematch from week 1 of this prior season against the Kansas City Chiefs. The game that we should have arguably had this Super Bowl will happen in New Orleans for Super Bowl 59.
Oh, wow. I'll tell you now, the Super Bowl I am wishing for is Detroit against Houston. I think that would be such a fun Super Bowl. Down in New Orleans, you have 2 teams, 2 cities that have never been to the Super Bowl. That would just be such a fun game. I don't think it's going to happen now. So, in the NFC, as my number 1 seed, again, you and I agree, it's the Detroit Lions. Number 2 seed, I've got the San Francisco 49ers. Number 3 seed, Philadelphia. Number 4 seed, Tampa Bay. So basically the same as this season, except for Detroit is the 1 seed instead of San Francisco, and Philadelphia is the number 3 seed rather than Dallas, even though they were the number 7 seed. And my number 5 seed, that would be the LA Rams. The number 6 seed, the Green Bay Packers. And the number 7 seed, the Chicago Bears. So in the wild card round, that sends Caleb Williams and the Bears to San Francisco, which I would love to see the Bears pull it off against the 49ers, but not quite yet. I think the 49ers defense is a little too tenacious, and they get the better of the Chicago Bears. And then you've got let me see if I can remember this. Oh, yeah. Packers taking on the Eagles.
Week 1 rematch from Brazil.
Yes. I think this is going to be a fantastic game. I would love to see the Green Bay Packers pull it off like they did last year. But again, the Eagles, they always seem to figure it out with their defense, except for the end of last season. I'll give them that. But they should have won Super Bowl 57. We know they have a winning culture. Again, I have questions about Green Bay's running back room with the loss of A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. So Philadelphia wins that. And then the big one that I'm very interested in. You got the number 5 seed, the L.A. Rams, going to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. Rematch of that fantastic, I believe it was a divisional round game a couple years ago, right? Divisional round?
Yes.
Yes. Where I don't know what happened with the Buccaneers, but they fell asleep defensively. And it will happen again.
Wow.
The Rams will go into Tampa and beat the Buccaneers. So give me my divisional round based on that.
So your divisional round then would be Philly at San Francisco, the Rams also going to Detroit.
Yes.
Like I have.
And God, I would love to see the Rams play the Lions in the divisional round, although I would like it more in the NFC Championship. But again, like they did last year, the Lions will pull this off, get to the NFC Championship game, where it will be a rematch of last year's NFC Championship game. It will be the San Francisco 49ers. But this time, it's going to be the Lions. So, like you, I've got the Lions. And for my Super Bowl, Lamar Jackson, John Harbaugh, Baltimore Ravens going against Jared Goff, Dan Campbell, and the Detroit Lions.
So, for both our Super Bowls, we have a little bit of finishing the story. On my end, can Kansas City repeat? Can Detroit finally break through? On your end, can Lamar Jackson finally break through versus will Detroit finally break through?
That's right.
So, the winner of Super Bowl 59 will be many disappointed Taylor Swift fans because the Kansas City Chiefs will not be repeating. Jared Goff, the number 1 overall pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, finally wins a Super Bowl after making one with the Rams and looking awful in it against New England. He is the savior of the Detroit Lions franchise, and my good buddy Jalen Sandbeck, who's been on this show a ton, big Detroit Lions fan, will finally get his first Lombardi trophy.
Dude, I'm not even a Lions fan. I'm a Browns fan, as you see. But if the Lions were to win, I might cry. Just because that would just be amazing to see. But do you remember the last time the Baltimore Ravens played a Super Bowl in New Orleans?
Yes, I do. It was the wild game where the lights turned off. They were dominating in the first half. Colin Kaepernick comes back in the second half. A questionable non-PI call in the back of the end zone that many Niners fans say cost them another Super Bowl.
Yep. It's going to be a nail biter again. I don't know if the lights are going to go off and all that stuff again. But sorry, Lions fans. It's going to be Lamar Jackson hoisting the Lombardi trophy. I hate to say that as a Browns fan because the Ravens are the team I hate the most in the AFC North. but I think there's just something about John Harbaugh being the head coach for the Ravens in the Super Bowl down in New Orleans. We've seen this from the Ravens. Nobody expected them to win the Super Bowl in 2012, and they did it. I'd have to go back, but I don't remember a lot of people picking the Ravens to win the Super Bowl in 2000 when they had that amazing defense and stuff. But so the Ravens kind of do this where they come out of nowhere, essentially, and pull these runs off. Yes, they're one of the top teams people are talking about, but I've got them winning the Super Bowl.